again, take two. This is why we're really so bad at this. So we'll start again. So my name's Lee from Foodie Book Club, and Lee in the Sweet Life. Down here, we've got Becky, who's this fantastic everything. She's going to introduce herself really well in a second. And up in the corner, we've got Lizzie from Peachy Digital, who's taking care of all of the stuff that actually needs taking care of. So we've asked lots of chefs and cooks and everybody who's got any sort of talent whatsoever, and Becky's got talent coming out of her ears, to give us some sort of lunchtime recipe or drinks recipe. And Becky has come up with 3 cocktails. I wish I had the ingredients now, but I'm actually sitting in my bedroom with stupid lights around me. So first of all, Becky, introduce yourself, tell me who you are, where you're from, everything.
My name's Becky. This is weird. It's like being in an interview, but
I know. I'm so sorry.
So yeah, my name's Becky. I own and run a restaurant in Blackheath called Copper and Ink with my partner Tony, who you may have seen a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. I think did you do quinoa risotto?
He did, with chicken thighs.
Yeah.
I've made it since. It was amazing.
Excellent.
She makes everything straight after, so be careful. She's going to be drunk this afternoon.
I mean, we're in lockdown. Why not?
Yeah. Well, we're drunk most of the time. I'm drunk now, you know.
So yeah, I've been running the restaurant with Tony for nearly 2 years. I run on the front of house side of things and the bar, and this is my spiritual home, the bar. Well, I think also, Lee, you know me more from being on the Foodies Festival scene, doing the Cakes and Bakes theatre, when I used to own Pin Up Pantry gluten-free cakes and bakes. So I still own it. I just don't really do anything with it now, based on the fact I work 17 hours a day running a restaurant.
Just that, and we've just been saying this, you're in tier 2.
Yes.
So what are your plans for opening?
So we'll be reopening next week, probably Thursday, I think, which I think is the 4th of December. I think, I don't know, might be the 3rd. I don't know. I don't know what day or date it is.
Yep.
I mean, you know, this happens. But yeah, we will be reopening next week. So for anyone that does follow us, we will be sort of announcing kind of all our opening times and Christmas and all that kind of fun stuff over on the website and our social medias and all that kind of stuff.
Well, as soon as they're up, Lizzie, will you remind me to get them, and I'll put them out on the Twitter, and we'll do lots and lots of, because you know I really forget everything.
Well, we have said as well, once Lee's out of tier 3, we do plan to come and see you, because obviously I'm gluten free, so I'm super excited for this.
My son, hello Matthew, lives in near Greenwich, so
Matthew, come and see us.
Actually, I will. I'll tell him. Yes. Okay. So tell us what you're going to be making today, because I'm.
Okay. So we're on the run up to Christmas, and we know that we're going to need to have lots of drinks at Christmas. So I'm going to give you 3 cocktails today, and they're all gin-based cocktails. So if you've got that kind of, you know, that bottle of gin that you don't really know what to do with, you've ordered gin and tonics, you know, what can I do with this? We've got 3 cocktails for you that you can make with gin. So we've got a classic martini, which if you go to a bar and you ask for a martini, is always going to be made with gin, unless you specifically want it made with vodka. So you have to ask for a vodka martini.
Okay.
Yeah, traditionally made with gin. Then we've got a gimlet, which is one of my favourite kind of old school cocktails. Reminds me very much of Betty Draper in Mad Men. She used to kind of drink.
Love Betty Draper.
So if you want to kind of channel your inner Betty Draper, you can make a gimlet, which is one of the simplest and most tasty cocktails you can make. And then finally, we're going to do a Negroni, which are really popular at the moment. Everyone's kind of going mad for the Negroni. Not my favourite cocktail, I'm not going to lie, because it's a little bit too bitter for me. I like something a little bit either sweeter or with a bit more kind of edge to it. But they're all really, really easy cocktails to make, and you're going to need approximately 5 ingredients.
Oh my God, that's perfect. So if anybody is watching, get your alcohol out now, because we've all, I swear to God, there must be a cupboard somewhere in everybody's house. The back has got that bottle of something that we bought for Christmas that we thought, oh, that'd be really nice. Yeah. So in mine is what?
Usually like creme de menthe or something like that.
Yeah. Oh my God. What is
Sugar
it?
syrup I've got. Loads of sugar syrup.
Really?
Sugar syrup's great because you can use that in so many cocktails.
Okay. So let's start with the first one.
Okay. So should we start off with a classic martini?
Yes. Now, can I ask you a question while you're doing that?
Yes.
So on the TV, right? Because I don't know how to do this. So on the TV, they say somebody says vermouth. Is that?
And says what?
Well, I heard somebody say, can I have a martini with vermouth? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so vermouth, basically.
Cinzano.
Martini.
No.
Vermouth. Yeah, that's it. So vermouth, you can get lots of different types, but yeah, if your basic vermouth is martini.
Do you know what? I'm laughing because I thought it was something like, you know, one of the. Oh, okay then.
If you've got this kicking about in your house,
yeah.
if you're cooking a recipe and it calls for like a glass of white wine and you haven't got any white wine open, whack a bit of vermouth in. It does the same thing.
Yeah. Oh.
But don't use white wine in a cocktail. It's weird.
Oh.
Right, classic martini. So you can need a cocktail shaker. I like this. This is a Boston shaker, so the two parts. You can use whatever cocktail shaker you have at home, but I just really like these. These are kind of like the professional ones. I like to pretend I'm a professional.
So they all have different names, and I didn't realise that was. I love this, but I know nothing.
These ones are called Boston shakers. I think comes from obviously cocktails now are very much stem from kind of the 20s America. So a lot of the old bartenders from the States came over to the UK in the 20s during Prohibition and brought with them all their wares and that kind of thing, which is why the cocktails we have now are very American, because it was all the New York bartenders that came over to the UK at that time. So that's why this is called a Boston shaker.
Okay. Right. I like. Hey, you could say anything. No, you know, I believe anything you say, but that sounds really logical.
I'm talking about, it's totally true. Right, so we're going to need, I've got extra dry here, so I like a dry martini. But if you want what's called a perfect martini, you need a sweet vermouth. So you can use like a Martini Bianco for that.
Right.
So a little jigger here, so 25 millilitres. We're going to go 25 ml of our vermouth.
Right. Are you fascinated, Lizzie? Because honestly, I've never watched anybody make cocktails before. Now that sounds weird.
No, well, do you know what? It stems from my brother-in-law. Is one of the it's kind of like a bar manager or something for Revolution de Cuba. Mm-hmm. So he makes us lots of obviously rum-based cocktails, and I love it because it's magical. But I do love a good cocktail. Whiskey sour is one of my favourites at the moment.
Whiskey sours are great. It's the pain with sours is egg white. You've got to have egg white in it to make it silky and smooth. Dry shaking is a pain. So I tend not to make sours too often, but they're all good. They're all good. So I've just put some gin in here. I've put quite a lot of gin in. I've put 75 millilitres of gin in here.
Yes,
so
we're on our way.
Right, we're going to make some noise when I grab some ice. Going to go to the ice machine.
Fabulous.
So you want to fill up with ice. And then we're going to put the lid on and we're going to shake.
I don't think I've ever had a martini, you know. I love gin.
Oh, gin is great. I like martinis. I've never watched anybody make them. I like martinis, but I do that whole thing, can I have 3 olives in it? Only because I think it's really cool to go, can I have 3 olives? But I have no idea.
Let me just shake this.
People have onions in them as well, don't they?
Yeah, so the traditional way you do it is with an olive. Normally, if you have a vodka martini, you'll have it with a twist. We're going to do with a twist today because I prefer it. With an onion, that's what's called a Gibson. So it's an onion, and then you put some of the like onion vinegar into it as well, and that's called a Gibson.
That sounds good.
I know, it all sounds good. It's interesting that you can get sort of like the ingredients and add different things to make it into. It's like cooking, like everything.
Yeah, if you've got olives at home and you like olives, you can make a dirty martini. So you put same ratio, but add an extra 25 millilitres of the olive brine into your shaker when you shake it up, and pour that in, and that's how you get a dirty martini, which is my favourite.
I'm off to go and buy some of this.
I know. I'm going to
double strain this because you've got quite a lot of ice in here. So we've got our shaker on the top. If you've got just one of the ones with the shaker that's in the lid, get a little tea strainer or a fine sieve, and you just need to double strain.
Look at that.
Oh.
And can I just say that actually just fits that glass? That's obviously meant to.
So you've done this before, Becky.
It's like, oh, you've done this before.
My job. So I've done it before.
Fabulous.
So we're going to now garnish that with a twist of lemon. So literally just got a lemon peel. So if you've got a speed peeler at home and you can take a little bit of the rind off, give it a little twizzle. You can twizzle it over the top and get some of the essential oils out just into the drink itself. If you want to be really fancy, you can set it alight and then smear it around the edges.
Oh,
who can be bothered with that? Drop it in, and that is a classic martini.
Oh, that is
amazing.
So well. That is. So,
I love the glass as well.
I know. Oh,
easy, right?
Yeah. I mean, but easy, but it's not. Another sense, it was going to sound weird. It's easy, but it's not easy to think about all of that stuff because I think it is an art, isn't it? I mean,
it's a lot to do with ratios. So, I think Tony's good at cocktails because he's great at maths. So he can do all the ratios and that kind of thing. I just I've got a weird brain and I just remember stuff. So I just, remember what the measurements are. But it becomes muscle memory after a while. I think, the more you make them, the easier they come.
So how long have you been fascinated with, because there has to be a fascination with cocktails, with that sort of thing, because because if you're anything like me, I go, oh, that's really interesting, and like about 3 months later I'm going, I'm bored with that now. But you've got to have this fascination. So when did that sort of like pop up?
I'm not sure if I should say, really. I'm not gonna lie, I've been fascinated with alcohol since I was probably about 8, and I distinctly remember, and I'm going to get my mum in trouble now, but I distinctly remember it was New Year's Eve, and my parents had, do you remember Asti Spumante?
Oh, yes.
And my parents had that, and that was their New Year's Eve drink. And I remember saying to my mum, like thinking, oh, this looks really great and fancy. Can I try some?
Yeah.
At the age of 8.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, have a sip. And I had this sip, and it was just like the most magical experience that I had of just this kind of amazing fizzy, kind of slightly acidic, slightly fruity thing. I was like, this is just great. And I think that for me was when my sort of slight obsession with alcohol began. I think as I got older and I got into kind of vintage styles and that kind of thing, got more into cocktails and learning about kind of where cocktails came from, and it's just kind of stemmed from there. And fascinated so much by alcohol that I now have a qualification in booze.
Amazing. I've got in cheese, so it can be like weird qualification friends.
Yeah, we can be the wine and cheese buddies. I like it a lot.
But this is a thing, right? Because you said, I think most people, when they were children, had a sip of something. Yeah. Right? I mean, hands up. We all, whether we were given it or snuck it, like, especially at weddings and things like that. But to be able to remember something that specific from such a young age and build on that, that's an ingredient rather than just going, I'm having a drink, isn't it? That's like you see these people who are chocolate experts who go, I've got this, and this in my mouth. That's you at a very early age going, wow, something's come out. I'm impressed with that. Yeah. I mean, I just got drunk very early, I just
I let my children have a small amount, but it's very much like if they have it now, it's not going to be this mysterious magical thing when they're old enough to buy it, kind of.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, it like when you say, when you take the mystery out of it, it becomes very normal. And I think having that healthy relationship with alcohol and knowing it's kind of, it is something that should be had in moderation. And yes, it's great to have a glass of wine or two with your dinner, going over that then kind of becomes something completely different. So I definitely think introducing kids to it kind of early on, not in a dodgy way, but in a kind of a way, just like you say, to demystify it is a great thing to do.
Because my dad's Croatian, so when we go over there, the children always have something that's watered down, and the teenager, I think, and this is, people are going to hate me, and do I care? But in England we have a very drunk culture, don't we? People drink to get drunk, as opposed to drinking to have pleasure with it, and sitting down with family and things like that. And I think that might be exact. We should just change the world, ladies. We should just be,
Absolutely. Revolution.
Yeah. So what's your second one?
Okay, so shall we move on to the gimlet next?
Which is your favourite?
This is my favourite one.
Okay, go for it.
So I'm going to put this, because we're channeling our inner Betty Draper. We've got one of these, which is a which obviously you can use for champagne. And these glasses are the shape they are because they were modelled on Marie Antoinette's breasts.
Oh,
excellent.
No, that makes more sense. Oh, I didn't think. Oh, see, I've got, because somebody told me that if you tip them upside down, it was the dress, but the breasts mean. Yeah. Okay, I don't even know why somebody obviously sculpted that. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that.
So I love a coupe glass. I love drinking champagne out of a coupe glass, which is a little bit old hat now, but I enjoy it. Cocktails out of a coupe glass are one of my favourite things.
It's more classy, I think, than a.
Very Gatsby, isn't it? Like the whole 20s kind of. And I love that.
Right. What we got?
Cocktail. It's 2 ingredients. That is all you need. If you said you've got sugar syrup at home, yes?
Yes. Loads of it.
If you want to use up your sugar syrup, use that and some lime juice rather than using lime cordial. I use lime cordial just because it's basically lime juice and syrup in one. So it's done. But you just use some lime juice and some sugar syrup, and then just you get it to the balance that you like for your palate. That's easy.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you need another jigger. This is a 50ml jigger, and we've obviously got another one of our Boston shakers. So I'm going to go in with 50 millilitres of gin.
All of these recipes are already on the website, so people can look at them now. And when will we get this up? If technology is our friend, Lizzie?
I'll do it
today. If technology is our friend, it'll be up on the site today, Foodie Book Club site. So go and have a look at it.
Fantastic.
I'm just going to spend the weekend making these.
Lime cordial.
So 50-50 is that?
50.
Oh my God.
That's an easy one to remember.
Yeah, even I can remember that one.
So we're going to go in with some ice. And then we're going to shake. It's going to be noisy for a second. I'm not going to be able to hear you. So if you want to say anything bad about me, now's the time to do it.
It's interesting because I can't hear that.
No, I can't. A tiny bit, like tiny, like a ticking noise almost.
Would you say that we can't hear that shake?
That's good. I can because it's right by my ear.
Okay. So tell me about, I know this may sound, and there may not be an answer to this, but tell me about the ice. That sounds the ice, right? So why so much ice in a drink to shake it to then strain it? Why not put ice directly into the glass?
Well, you don't want to put ice directly. You can chill the glasses, and it's always a good idea to chill glasses beforehand. I'm not doing it just because time and that kind of thing. So a chilled glass will always make for a much better cocktail. But you don't necessarily want to put the ice straight in, because if you leave the ice in, it will then melt and completely dilute your cocktail.
Okay.
So you shake it to kind of mix it. You want to dilute it a little bit so it's not like, punch you in the face strong. But it is just to kind of combine everything and cool it all down, and then it keeps it cold.
Yeah, because you can get those sort of like blocks of stone or whatever you put into
granite and things, isn't there?
Yeah,
or whiskey and things.
You don't want to use that in a cocktail. Yeah, you want that in a whiskey, or you can use it if you make an old fashioned. Those blocks are great for an old fashioned. But yeah, in these kind of cocktails, you need just bog standard ice. So yeah, obviously I've got an ice machine here, but shop bought ice, or ice that you've made in your little ice block things in your freezer at home, absolutely fine.
Okay, excellent. See, I knew it seemed like a good question, but
done, and I'm just going to garnish that with a wedge of lime. And that's
literally lime cordial and gin. I love it.
It's acceptable to drink now, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, I'm surprised Lizzie hasn't got one, because you know what, when we do sweet and peachy things where we chat, we record them, and I tell you what, I'm very drunk by the end of it, because we have these drinks. Yeah.
I'm being quite restrained, I have to say.
To be fair, we do film at like 4 p.m. So
not have a bit of gimlet when it's there, but it's so lovely. You've got that kind of sweet acidity running through from the lime and obviously the sugar, and then that kind of punchy gin that comes through, that kind of juniper hit that kind of just works so beautifully well. It's great. I love it.
What's your favourite gin to use, and what's your favourite gin to drink yourself?
So my favourite gin to use, I have 2 actually, and I'll show them to you. So Daffy's, which is Coppernick house gin, made in Edinburgh. It's absolutely great. and it's got a little bit of a note of Parma Violet to it, so it's quite an interesting one.
Uh-huh.
And the other one I like to use for cocktails is this one, East London Gin, which has got some really interesting flavour. It's got coriander, it's got some pink grapefruit and things like that. So again, really nice in a cocktail. That one's nice just to drink as well as a gin and tonic. But I also really like Portobello Road and Ragnarok, which is the Swedish gin.
Yeah, I've only heard of one of those, and that's the London gin. So I'm going to have to invest it. And I do a lot of cooking with gin companies, so I've got a cupboard full of gin. So I'm going to be on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Using different gins as well in your kind of classical cocktails will completely change the flavour profile of your cocktail. So, experiment. If you've got lots of different gins in your bar at home, experiment with them all and see which one you like best for the different cocktails, because it will completely change it, which is always a bit fun.
And also, if you experiment, that means you have to drink it, doesn't it?
Exactly.
You can't throw it away, can you? You can't make it, Lizzie, and just throw it away. It's ridiculous.
You can't. Don't waste alcohol. Don't waste anything.
Who does that?
So out of the cocktails, not necessarily just ones you're showing us, but out of all the cocktails in your restaurant, which is Copper, I knew that. I was just going to Copper, which is opening on the 4th.
Or next Thursday, whichever date that is.
Yeah.
Thursday the 3rd.
Yeah, Thursday the 3rd. Which is the most popular cocktail that people would order? Is it a gin-based one?
It's normally Negroni. We get a lot of Negronis. There's 3 that people order quite a lot: Negronis, old fashions, and espresso martinis.
Oh, now it's interesting. Why espresso martini? I've heard people like that a lot, and Negroni, like you said earlier, they're becoming really popular. Why is that really popular?
I don't know. I think they've just suddenly just become de rigueur. I don't really know why. I think people have just gone, oh, they look nice. Lots of people have kind of been talking about them, and I think they've just become popular just through maybe social media and things like that. It's like anything, when you kind of get a bit of a fad, people jump on it. And so I've been making a lot of Negronis recently.
And a question to you about gin, and again, you might not know this, but gin has become, again, it's one of those, not a fad, it's a fashion or whatever. Do you think it's going to peak and go away again? Because we've got some wonderful, wonderful, unique gins out there, like you just mentioned a few of them. And it is really fashionable. Do you think we're going to go into something else?
Potentially. I feel like rums are going to have a resurgence soon.
Right.
There's a lot of interesting things happening in this country with people producing amazing rums. I'm going to show you this one actually. This is made by a mad scientist in Essex.
Right.
And it's basically, it's mostly English. Obviously, some of the ingredients can't come from this country because we can't grow them, but it's essentially, it's an English rum, and it is absolutely stunning. It's smooth, it's punchy, it's spicy, it's brilliant. So I definitely think rum's going to have a bit of a resurgence, but I don't think gin's going anywhere at the moment.
I think it's just going to be, I think what's going to happen is we're going to get all these wonderful gins, and like any businesses, those who aren't so good will go to the background, and then the good independent ones will come. But I'd like to, if we could do another one of these, if you're keen to do a rum based one, that would be fabulous.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll make rum old fashions all day long. They give me so much joy.
Well, I'm sure people, because I'd want to have another one of them. Right, okay, last one
is a Negroni.
Yes.
So this one you need 3 ingredients for. So you need gin, you're going to need some red vermouth, Martini Rosso.
Right.
And
I'm fascinated with the
old favourite Campari.
Right.
So that's knocking about in someone's like of 1970s alcohol.
Yes, that's an interesting example of the fashionable thing, because it used to be Campari was like the posh.
Campari and soda. My mum used to drink that all the time. We've got one lady that comes in, and I don't think she's watching, but hi Helen, if you are watching. She has Campari and orange. So when she comes in, I'm like, Campari and orange today? And she's like, yeah.
What, fresh orange juice?
Fresh orange juice, yeah.
Oh, I must try that.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. No. Right, okay then.
Cool, okay, so now the jigger, 25 mil. This is literally equal measures again, so you can't go wrong. So if you're doing a big batch and you want to do like a picture of it, as long as you've got equal measures of each, it will work.
That's an idea. Thank you for saying that. I've never thought about doing that. Can you do that with all of the drinks as well?
You can, and you can. I tend to sometimes I do double up, but doing more than 2 of a martini, it get really, really strong. So I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Unless you just want to be on the floor immediately,
which is an option. Yeah, absolutely. This one is be good because, you know, for those wonderful people who aren't in tier 3, getting a big picture of this ready would be perfect, wouldn't it? Oh,
great for Christmas. You get, you know, you make ahead kind of cocktails. So yeah, this is a good one for that.
Good. So what have we got so far?
5 mils of gin, and then I'm going in with 25 mils of Martini Rosso or red vermouth, if that's what you have at home. Doesn't matter what brand it is. And then always add your Campari last.
Oh, why? Why is that?
I don't know. It just tastes better that way.
Okay. But it's those little tricks, isn't it? You know, even if I knew how to mix these things, those little tricks from the expert that makes you go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit of ice to the glass. So we've literally done it straight into a lowball glass.
Oh.
And then trusty bar spoon. So if you haven't got one of these, I highly recommend getting one. They're very, very useful. So you use this end for like smashing sugar and things like that, or whatever you need. Yeah. Obviously measuring and stirring. And then this is really great for when you're stirring cocktails as well.
Makes it
round. So we go in and we're literally just going to stir this. So if you like a stirred martini as opposed to a shaken martini, you definitely need a bar spoon for that.
Okay, I need to ask you about that. You know, 007 and all this
sort of Bond thing, yeah.
Yeah, you know, shaken, not stirred. Is there a difference?
There is, yes. When you shake it, you're breaking up the ice, so you're diluting the alcohol slightly further. Right. So if you stir it, you're literally just kind of, it's just being kissed by the ice, and then you know
we've got a
stronger drink.
Well, you cut out there, but I'm guessing you say that again about if you stir it, you get a.
If you stir it, it's essentially it's the alcohol's just being kissed by the ice, so it's just kind of, you know, just giving it a little bit of a cuddle, and then you've got a much stronger and more viscous drink, really.
What we're saying is that 007 is a bit of a wimp.
Well, I mean, maybe when it comes to a martini, but you know, he does drink a lot, so I think we'll let.
True. That is true. Yeah.
And also, he didn't want to get martini droop, did he?
Disappearing like a little meerkat, just getting more ice. So I've just stirred it, and then I've topped it up with ice.
And that looks so pretty as well, though.
Beautiful colour, isn't it?
And again, I've done a twist of orange. Or you can just do a wedge if it's easier, which it is much easier. And again, I like to just express some of the essential oils into it. And then you pop your wedge in, and there's your Negroni.
Yeah, I just want to applaud, because it's just like, it's honestly, to me, it's like magic. I know it's like a magician, just pulling things out of your hat. I could watch you forever. That's really weird, isn't it? God.
Exactly. We do get a lot of people. If I'm behind the bar on a Friday, Saturday night, and I've got like, you know, racks and racks and racks of drinks going, and like loads of cocktails, you do get a lot of people in you know, in the restaurant watching and go, ooh, what's going on? And then you kind of take the drinks to the table and what was that one that you were making that had like, that was red? Or what was the one you were making that had this, that, and the other in it? So people do get fascinated by it. I mean, it's, you know, a bit more fun than watching telly sometimes, I think.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I'm sick of Netflix. So can I ask you a question about the coffee martini?
Espresso martini, yeah.
Tell me how you make that. Okay,
so that's a vodka-based one. So how I make it is 50 ml of espresso, 25 to 50, depending on how coffee you like it. Yeah. You can use hot espresso because you're going to ice it anyway, and that actually will then start giving you that nice foamy kind of texture. Okay. Then you want 25 ml of coffee liqueur. So you can use Kahlua, Tia Maria, whatever you've got in the house. We use one called Fair Cafe, so it's a fair trade coffee liqueur. Okay. And then you want 50 ml of vodka. We use one called Black Cow, so it's actually a milk-based vodka. So it's the vodka made from milk, and it's got a really lovely creamy kind of taste and texture. Put that all in your shaker with a teaspoonful of brown sugar, or you can use sugar syrup if you have it. Ice in shake it, and that's when you have to just shake the Jesus out of. So you'll know when it's ready, because you'll hear the ice changing, so it will start getting quieter, and then the outside of the shaker will be like so cold you can barely handle it anymore. And then again, you've got a double strain, and then you'll get sort of the coffee sort of at the bottom, and then that lovely kind of almost cappuccino layer on top.
See what I mean? It's magic. It is like some sort of alcohol magic. I'm just
genuine skill, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I know. Do you know? And I know that we've come to the end of the time, but I want to keep talking to you forever, Becky, because I just love you to bits. Go through all the plugs for the restaurant and the drinks and everything you want to plug again, because I really want people to know about it.
Cool. So Copper and Ink is the restaurant. So copperandink.com is the website. So you can find all our social medias on there. It's easier just to go copperandink.com, and then you can find us that way. If you want to follow me on any of the socials, I am Pin Up Pantry GF. I've just set up a new website talking all about booze, which is called The Inked Imbiber. So it's theinkedimbiber.weebly.com. So if you want to read about sort of any kind of reviews I'm doing for wine and booze and things like that.
Send that to me, because I'll put it on with the other.
I will do. And yeah, if people have any questions at all about wine, about booze, about gluten-free baking, about anything, just ask me questions. I will also answer questions about lipstick and tattoos.
Love tattoos. I've got very many of them.
Yeah, she's
also very many.
I love a tattoo. I just love that. Listen, I just want to kiss you and hug you, because you are a star, and I would love to have you on again, but we'll talk about that later. And I know Lizzie has got many questions for you for gluten-free, but that's another 30 minutes of the whole.
You just email me. I'll answer all your questions.
Maybe just have just 30 minutes of you just talking about gluten-free stuff, not making anything, just talking about the, you know, what's going on with our bodies in this, because there's much more now. People are much more intolerant now to gluten than they were. I don't know whether that's because people are aware of it more, so they know what to look for or whatever, but that's another conversation, isn't it? So
there's lots of science about it. And it's quite involved, but a lot of it is to do with farming.
Oh, that is a 30-minute thing.
It's going to be controversial, isn't it?
I like controversial. Okay, we're going to stop recording now. Foodie Book Club, please everybody join and support us. We support independent businesses. We shout about them all the time. We support the emotional well-being of everybody. We have these fabulous chefs who give us recipes every month on our website, leeandthesweetlife.com. Go on Becky's stuff and do everything. Shout about her, share this. This video is going to be up hopefully by the end of the day, if technology. And everything we've talked about is on the website. And I'm going to put some more stuff up there. And we'll see you next week. Say goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.